Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Functional Longevity Podcast, where we give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. I'm your host, Chris Borda, best-selling author and owner of Y.E.S Fitness. And let me first thank you for taking time from your busy day to listen to what I have to say. I hope you find it interesting and helps you make changes in your lifestyle. But before I get started, let me also thank our sponsor, Y.E.S Fitness. Most people lose the ability to enjoy life as they age. At Y.E.S Fitness, we help people age 40 plus get fit so they can live longer and enjoy those extra years doing the things they love to do. Some quick housekeeping here. If you want to get a timestamp or a transcript of today's broadcast, head on over to yesfitnessct.com. Across the top, you'll see a button for a podcast. Click on that. It'll give you access to any one of our now 318 episodes. You can also get this broadcast wherever podcasts can be found. See how intensity is superior to volume for promoting longevity. Today, we're examining a topic that's vital to all of us, whether you're a fitness enthusiast or just trying to live longer, a healthier life. We're going to talk about exercise intensity and its impact on longevity specifically. It's a fascinating subject that's been explored in the latest research. And today, I'm here to break it down in a way that's easy to understand and applicable to your fitness journey. Whether you're curious about how hard you need to push in your workouts, or someone who's wondering if those intense sweat sessions are going to help you live longer, this episode is for you. So let's first lay the foundation here. We all know exercise is good for you, right? It helps with weight control, boosts mental health, improves cardiovascular function, and the list goes on and on and on and on. We talk about it all the time. But the question we're tackling today is, does the intensity of your workout matter when it comes to longevity? Specifically, we're talking about longevity. So whenever we're taking a look at an exercise prescription or plan, or when we give advice, we want to take a look at what is the goal. The goal of the exercise program we're talking about today is longevity. And here's the kicker. It turns out it does. Intensity does matter, but not in the way you might think. A lot of people believe that to maximize the benefits of exercise, you have to go all out all the time. Lay on the ground, dead tired, beat up, exhausted. High intensity workouts, long hours at the gym, pushing your limits constantly. However, recent research suggests a more nuanced approach. It's not just about working harder, but working smarter. Understanding this balance is key, and that's what we're going to explore today. When we push ourselves in high intensity workouts, something incredible happens inside our bodies. Our muscles become mini powerhouses, producing important compounds like lactate and mitokines. These compounds travel through our body, sending signals to various organs, even our brain. One result, the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, is a key player in brain health. Some of these molecules even have anti-cancer properties. But there's more. Vigorous exercise is one of the most effective ways to boost your VO2 max. Essentially, your cardiorespiratory fitness, which is a huge predictor of how long we live. The better your fitness, the longer and healthier your life will be. VO2 max. We want to improve VO2 max. The best way to do that is with vigorous exercise. Excuse me. So why does exercise intensity matter so much? High intensity workouts have shown massive benefits for metabolic health, cardiovascular fitness, and overall wellness. But recently, there's a lot of buzz out there. Low to moderate intensity aerobic exercise, or what's known as zone 2 training. It's out there. People are talking about it. And zone 2 focuses on fat burning and it's done at a lower heart rate for longer durations. Then we've got something a little different. Exercise snacks and vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity, or what we're going to call today VILPA, vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity, VILPA. These aren't your typical workouts instead. They're quick bursts of high intensity activities scattered throughout your day. And while they haven't been studied as extensively, the research that's out there suggests that they can significantly improve fitness and metabolic health. This brings us to a big question. With so many options on the table, which type of exercise is best for longevity? That's our goal today. Does frequent high intensity interval training, or HIIT, give us the biggest longevity boost? Or is slow and steady state zone 2 training the key to a longer life? And what about those quick bursts of exercise snacks? Can they still help us reduce the risk of disease? The truth is here, it's hard to say for sure without a long-term study comparing these different methods head to head. That kind of research would take decades. Honestly, I don't have decades right now. So we have to rely on studies that look at the link between activity types and longevity. So one study just recently published, September 14th, 2024, in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, titled Intensity of Volume, the Role of Physical Activity in Longevity, found something interesting. When it comes to reducing the risk of dying, the intensity of physical activity matters more than the volume. I'll say that again. The intensity of physical activity matters more than the volume. Specifically, when it comes to reducing cardiovascular disease mortality, the intensity of your activity stands out, while the overall volume of the exercise wasn't as significant. Personally, I'm an intensity guy. I want to get going. I want to go 15, 20 minutes, half hour, and be done. I don't want to be going for a half hour, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours, whatever it might be. Let's get in and get out. Let's do what we have to do and be done with it. So I kind of love this study. And that might be why it brought to my attention to talk about it today. These findings carry some important lessons on how we approach exercise for health and longevity. Well, let's break it down and dig a little deeper into what this all means. When it comes to reducing the risk of all-cause mortality, both the amount and the intensity of your physical activity play a role. But here's the kicker. Intensity is the real game changer. While doing more exercise is definitely beneficial, I'm not telling you not to exercise. Pushing yourself harder makes a bigger impact. In fact, people who had higher levels of intense physical activity saw a 37.1% lower risk of all-cause mortality compared to those who did the least. Even when you compare those in the middle to those in the upper 25% of high intensity activity, there was still a 19.8% drop in risk. So it's clear that getting your heart rate up consistently pays off. Now, when we look at exercise volume, the overall amount we're doing, the numbers still show benefits, just not as striking. Participants who moved more saw a 14.4% reduction in all-cause mortality when comparing to the lower 25% of the middle, and a 13.7% drop between the middle and the upper 25%. So volume helps, but it doesn't pack the same punch as intensity. Here's where it gets really interesting. For cardiovascular disease mortality, high intensity activity once again stood out. People who engaged in more intense exercise saw a whopping 41% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease when compared to the least active to those in the middle. 41%. Even going from the middle to the upper 25% brought a 29.8 reduction in risk. When it came down to the sheer volume of exercise, there was no significant link to cardiovascular disease mortality. In other words, just doing more didn't seem to offer much additional protection. The benefit levels off over time. The takeaway here, it's not just about how much you move, but how intense you do it. We've established that intensity plays a role in reducing mortality, but there's other factors that come into play. How long you sustain that intensity in each session. How long do we need to do this for? At any level of intensity, whether it's moderate or high, there's a clear benefit to performing your activity in bounds of 5 minutes or longer, just 5 minutes or longer. This pattern leads to greater reductions in both all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease mortality compared to breaking it up into short bursts, more fragmented bursts. Now, here's what that looks like in practice. Let's say you're doing 30 minutes of high-intensity exercise each day. You'll see more benefits if you break it into 3 10-minute bouts as opposed to spreading it out across 10 3-minute bouts. In other words, when it comes to longer-term health outcomes, fewer but more sustained efforts are better than lots of brief efforts. It's about more consistent exercise blocks and less of the quick spurts like those we see in VILPA. Interestingly, when we shift our focus to low intensity or moderate intensity, the pattern isn't as crucial. Whether you're doing long or moderate intensity activity in short bursts or longer sessions, the mortality benefits don't seem to change. The key takeaway with this, for more intense activity, how long you sustain your efforts matters. But for lower intensity exercise, it's about getting it in, regardless of how long each session lasts. The key to understanding these results lies in the powerful impact of vigorous exercise has on the body. High intensity training improves blood lipids, regulates glucose, strengthens cardiovascular function, and reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. All areas where less intense exercise falls short. While exercise volume is still important, it's the intensity that drives the deep physiological changes that enhance health and longevity. This is especially clear when it comes to heart health. In this study, exercise intensity, not the volume, was linked to lower risk of cardiovascular disease mortality. If you're not pushing hard enough to challenge your heart muscles and brain, it seems that after a certain point, more exercise doesn't yield the same returns. Now, the study suggests that your vigorous exercise should be completed in bouts of at least 5 minutes or more. But here's where it gets interesting. I'm not entirely convinced that shorter bouts don't offer benefits. There's a strong evidence supporting the power of VILPA, those 1 to 2 minute bursts of intense activity integrated into your daily routines. Just 3 short VILPA bursts a day can reduce all-cause mortality by up to 40%. That's a significant impact for such a small commitment, right? Well, 1 to 2 minutes, a few times a day, 3 times a day, it's a 40% reduction. The apparent inconsistency between the benefits of VILPA and the study's findings might come down to how physical activity are categorized in each study. Regardless, I think it's a smart move to aim for a few longer, high-intensity exercise sessions each day and several times a week to be on the safe side. While exercise snacks and VILPA offer huge health benefits, they shouldn't be the cornerstone of your aerobic training. Mixing in longer, vigorous bouts will help maximize your longevity and overall health. So let's kind of wrap this up for you, okay? With some action steps that you can take to incorporate this knowledge into your routine. Keep in mind, when it comes to exercise, the takeaway is simple. Mix it up. You need a balanced combination of low, moderate, and high intensity training throughout your week. This study doesn't suggest that intense exercise is the only thing you should do to reduce your all cause and cardiovascular mortality. That's not the message here. Instead, the results underscore just how essential vigorous exercise is for longevity. If you're only doing zone 2 training, you're not going to fully optimize your health span or lifespan. This is particularly true for people who aren't spending a lot of time on cardiovascular training. In these cases, going harder is better for your health overall. Vigorous exercise pushes your body, stimulates your brain, and is one of the most powerful tools you have to promote longevity. It may not be easy, but it's simple. Go hard, rest, and repeat. Your health and your future self will thank you for it. Believe it or not, this could work against your longevity goals. Recovery is essential. Your muscles, joints, and even your cardiovascular system need time to rebuild after you've pushed it that hard. If you neglect this, if you neglect recovery, you might be setting yourself up for burnout, injury, or even long-term health issues. So listen to your body. On days when when you're feeling fatigued or sore, it's okay to dial it back. Go for a walk, do some light stretching. This all counts towards your movement goal. It needs to give your body time to recharge, to regenerate, to recover. I hope this all makes sense to you. Let's get out there. Let's be doing something. And let's at some point in time do some intense activity. Get that heart rate up because it's going to help you in so many ways, including longevity. If you have any questions about how to do that kind of stuff, give me a call, contact me. I'd be more than happy to give you some ideas. You don't need to go to a gym to do this stuff. You don't need any special equipment. You just need to have an idea what's going on. So thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully you've learned a bit more about how exercise intensity plays a role in your long-term health and how you can apply this to your fitness routine. It's all about finding the right balance and staying consistent. One of the keys, stay consistent. Because the workout you put in today will pay dividends for your health down the road. Remember, always longevity isn't just about living longer. It's about living better. So keep moving. Challenge yourself. Take care of your body. You'll thank yourself later. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any more health and fitness insight. And as always, stay strong, stay healthy. That's it for today. I'll catch up to you next time with more information on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. Thanks for watching.